Hello, everyone. I'm sharing with you this message on this very strange and difficult and sad Friday afternoon, Erev Shabbos. If you do not know, the Young of Brookline will not be having a regular minyanim this Shabbos or during the week, or there won't be any other programs taking place in the Shul building now or until further notice. At the very least, that means that for most of you, probably all of you, I won't see you this Shabbos, and so I'd like to take this opportunity to wish you good Shabbos. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to share with you two brief thoughts on the Parsha. Don't worry, it will be shorter than a regular Shabbos drasha, and some other thoughts as we're having so many emotions and thoughts swirling around at this time. So the first thought is as follows. The Gemara gives the following advice, that when you're giving a gift to someone, not charity, not tzedakah, but if you're giving a gift, a matana to a friend, to a loved one, hanosi matana lechavero, tzarich lahodio, you should inform the person. You shouldn't give it anonymously. You should let the person know, I'm giving you this present, and from whom it's coming. And the Gemara says the source of that is a pasuk in this week's parsha, that the Gemara refers to Shabbos as a matana tova. Yeshi begins Hashem tells Moshe, I have this wonderful present to give the Jewish people. And the Torah says that Hashem instructs Moshe, Daber el b'nei Yisrael, speak to the Jewish people and tell them, Ach es Shabbosai tishmor, you must observe Shabbos. Ki osi beini uveneichem l'dorosechem, it's an eternal sign between you and myself. Ladat, in order to know, Ki ani Hashem mekadeshchem, that I am the Lord who sanctifies you. Moshe, make sure they know, make sure they understand. Don't just command them, don't just let them know about it. Explain to them that Shabbos is a present, a matana tova, and that I am the one giving it to them because I love them, I sanctify them, I have chosen them. We all know that it's possible to have gifts in life and not appreciate them, to become accustomed to them, or to maybe have never noticed them in the first place. And sometimes it's important, and we need someone to point something out to us to make us realize the blessing that we have. Make sure the person knows that they have been given this gift. And sometimes, unfortunately, it is necessary to lose something in order to appreciate it. When we no longer have it, we realize how wonderful it was. This Shabbos, we will not be fully experiencing, enjoying the Matana Tova, the wonderful present of Shabbos as we normally experience it. And it will be difficult. It is sad. For many people, the davening of Shabbos, singing Kedusha, learning together is such an important part of their weekly schedule and their life. For others, it is seeing friends and the community aspect, camaraderie, friendships, relationships. That is equally as important. And we're not going to have that this Shabbos. And I've already, in speaking to people, it is interesting, in the sadness, I have detected, you can detect a little bit, the glimmer of light, that in the difficulty, people are starting to realize what a wonderful thing it was, what a precious thing we have that unfortunately has been taken away from us temporarily. And when we will return to the shul, which hopefully will happen sooner than later, I'm sure we will appreciate the shul, the community, everything that means more than we ever did before. But until that time, there is going to be a void, especially on Shabbos and also during the week for many people, not being able to come to shul. And we have to make sure that we fill that void with equally meaningful, purposeful, holy endeavors. If we're not going to be in shul, we shouldn't spend less time this Shabbos on mitzvos or other holy pursuits. So with the extra time that you have, make sure to spend time with your family. Make sure to look at the parsha. Make sure to daven, of course, on Shabbos and every day. We need to daven more than ever. Perhaps the change in scenery and place will allow us to focus, allow us to have more meaningful tefillos in a certain way, to add to our davening for ourselves, for our community, for the world. The second idea I wanted to share with you, we should be reading tomorrow in Shul, Parshas Parah, the special reading describing the Paraduma, the red heifer, whose ashes were used to purify someone who came in contact with a dead body. And this is read now because often people will begin purifying themselves in preparation for Pesach. As soon as Purim is done, you have to start thinking about Pesach. And Rav Soloveitchik had a very interesting insight when it comes to the paraduma. He pointed out that there are two ways to purify a person: immersion in a mikveh and the ashes of the red heifer. Most impurities can be wiped away by going into a mikveh. A mikveh, as opposed to the paraduma, a mikveh you can do yourself. You find a natural body of water in a modest way. No one knows. You go down, you immerse, you come up. You are pure. You have solved the problem, so to speak. For salvation, explained that sometimes there are some impurities in the world or some challenges, as typified by coming in contact with a dead body, that in order to become pure, you can't do it yourself. You need the paraduma, you need the ashes of the red heifer, but more than that, you need someone else to sprinkle the ashes of the red heifer on you. You can't do it yourself. The law is that someone else needs to sprinkle the ashes on you. Only two people together, working together, a group, can create a purity strong enough to remove the impurity. And sometimes in life, there are challenges that sometimes we can meet them ourselves. We have enough inner strength ourselves. That is like the mikveh. But sometimes there's some things we can't do ourselves, that we need the help of other people. But together, it can be conquered. Together, the challenge can be met. And I know that is how we will be approaching this new situation. Approaching it, meeting it together. You should know, after the emails just a few hours ago, there have already been so many people who have offered, someone who no longer lives in Brookline but receives the emails, offered to say Kaddish for someone. Several people have offered to help if there are people who are having financial difficulties now. Others offered to do errands or other ways to help. And I've already seen so many wonderful expressions of love and care for the community. And there should be a time that we come together, that we support one another, and that through the challenge, we will become closer, we'll become a stronger community. And I'm confident that that can and that will happen. I conclude with one final thought. I want you to know that I've tried my best, not in writing or verbally, to say that the Young Israel of Brookline is closed. You will hear people say, comment, I heard the Young Israel of Brookline is closed. So I want to clarify. The Young Israel of Brookline is not closed. It is true, our physical building is not open, and we are not using our physical building. But the Young Israel of Brookline is much more than a physical building. It is all of us. It is all of you. It is our friendships, our relationships. It is the history of our community, of our families. It is how we perform mitzvahs together, how we learn together, how we support one another, do chesed for each other, for others. And all of that is certainly going to continue. And we will continue to, in new and creative ways, and in ways that we will take with us after we can return to the physical building of our shul. We will continue to support one another. We will continue to be in touch. We'll continue to be friends. We will continue to find ways to learn together, to daven in ways that we are together. And in that way, the Young Israel of Brookline is certainly open, is certainly alive, and we hope, please God, will only get stronger. And with that, I wish all of you and your families a good Shabbos.